you will now have an opportunity to see yourself through YouTube channel as well. One moment, it starts preparing channel for that. Okay. Okay, so those who would be interested, I'm sending it here in our chat, the link to our YouTube channel, so you can use it later on as well. So I can send it to chat right now, so you can see it, copy it, and then use it later on. But I actually recommend you to subscribe to this channel. It's my channel, and there would be maybe some other phonetic exercises that I'll be publishing in this channel, so it may be of use for you too in the future. Okay. So today's lecture that is meant to a certain extent correct a little bit your pronunciation as I see it through your performances when you record yourself for the test, for the final test. And I see all sorts of mistakes. I will be making, of course, conclusions about each one of you. I keep listening to each one of you. But the main mistake consists in the following. You are either too disperse in pronunciation when you pronounce word for word. When you say once upon midnight dreary, so you'll be either doing it like that, which does not make speech very dynamic, but we need dynamism for speech. While the second mistake that you are making when performing, you are becoming too unclear, too obscure in pronunciation. You have a feeling that you are pronouncing in a very smooth manner, but in fact there is no smoothness. It's just fog. Very difficult to understand what you mean. Very few of you can produce a speech that is intelligible and dynamic. So there is a need to reach this combination of intelligence plus intelligibility plus dynamism. That's highly important. So you should be intelligent and dynamic. It means that you should be controlling how people perceive what they hear from you. And I'm trying to show you by my own example what you need to do in order to read in such a manner. You should be controlling perception, and controlling perception through what? It goes through pauses. You can make pauses at any place when you feel comfortable, and at the same time fast, where speed is used mainly to somehow bring down the attention. When you don't need to concentrate on certain words and phrases, you say, I would want here to be less specific. I will go more or less rhythmically. Rhythm, as I said to you last time and during the previous lectures, is one of the strongest elements for the building of pronunciation. Rhythm, rhythm, and rhythm again. Please listen, hear what I'm saying. Rhythm is something that is not natural. Rhythm should be trained by you in your everyday communication in English. And this is done by listening to the way people actually are rhythmicalizing their speech. The way people are rhythmicalizing their speech. See when I'm pronouncing this specific phrase. See when I'm pronouncing this specific phrase. See when I'm pronouncing this specific phrase. See when I'm pronouncing, see when I'm pronouncing, see when I'm pronouncing, see when I'm pronouncing. I try to pronounce this specific chunk in a manner that is on the one hand very fast, very smooth, and at the same time clear. So clarity is very important. Therefore, when you speak, you try to achieve a rhythm where everything is fast and at the same time clear. Fast and clear. You can go in a step-by-step manner, little by little, adding speed as you develop. But this exercise can be done on the basis of almost anything that you are saying. For example, you're pronouncing this phrase, of almost anything that you are saying. you're saying, and then you start thinking, well, okay, of almost anything that you are saying. Can I pronounce this phrase better? Can I produce it in a manner that will be more rhythmical and more and better perceived by the public? And then you take this phrase, and then you take this phrase, and then you take this phrase, and you start pronouncing it slower and faster. And then you take the phrase, and then you take this phrase, right? And then you take this phrase, and then take this phrase, and then you take this phrase, and then you take this phrase, and then you take, comfortable. You say, wonderful. Yeah, I pronounce this single phrase, and then you take. You say, so comfortable to pronounce, and so easy, right? And it gives you pleasure. It gives you pleasure to pronounce it, and then you take, this phrase. So this difficult because you notice and you feel that at that very moment your tongue somehow feels discomfort, and then you take this phrase. So you are exercising this rhythm almost on the basis of almost anything that you are using in order to achieve this dynamism in pronunciation. What is dynamism? Dynamism is going down the slope, like in the mountain, and at the same time, going down the slope and at the same time feeling comfortable in making almost anything that you want to do, or doing everything that you want to do without any difficulty. This is a great pleasure to go down the slope when you know the movements, when you know how to achieve this freedom in changing, making curves, going down the mountains, then up the slope, and so on and so forth. All these things are highly important. I would like, if I can right now, I will show you the screen of my phone just to show how it works in my perception. And this is really important for you to see what I mean by speed and ease of pronunciation when you speak. It's like knowing and feeling that in spite of any difficulty, in spite of any turn that you come across on the mountain, you feel comfortable in turning here and there. And somehow my telephone doesn't want to open. Okay, I will show you later on today when we focus on something else. All right, dynamism, that's what we want to achieve. Dynamism means fast movement in spite of any difficulty on the mountain. That's highly important, and it will work. Maybe I will now find it. I will find it. So here, right, I can actually show you what I mean. This is something that is very well familiar to you. For example, of these people, right, who are going down the mountains. It is fast, right? It is fast, and yet very clear, because once they make a mistake in a single movement, they're dead, right? Because the speed is fantastic. They're moving very quickly. And this is something that I call dynamic and yet intelligible. How to achieve this? By regularly exercising rhythm. By regularly exercising rhythm. Tongue twisters would help, by the way. Tongue twisters. I don't know, do you ever practice tongue twisters? Each language has tongue twisters of their own, therefore, well, tongue twisters may help. So you begin with something very simple like Karl, uklari, ukral, karali. 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 So you continue doing this until you reach a very high speed in the pronunciation. So likewise, you are doing with the ordinary text, and this will develop the necessary flexibility for your tongue. Flexibility, of course, is a very important parameter, because in order to achieve this nice and elegant kind of speaking, you would want to be very flexible, very easygoing, very pleasant, very nice, without any exertion or difficulty. Imagine if somebody, for example, starts speaking quickly but unintelligibly. For example, I was speaking like that, for example. I'm producing an impression of someone who's speaking very quickly, but the intelligibility is practically zero, right? So you can't hear me well. And therefore, your eyes are wide open. So you say, I don't understand what you're saying. Exactly. Because I'm not thinking of you at this very moment. So I'm trying, so I'm not thinking of you at this moment. I'm saying at this moment, at this moment, at this moment. Okay. The phrase at this moment is not very important, right? For my listeners. And so I'm thinking of you. I'm taking this part and I'm pronouncing very clearly, right? At the top of my voice, very rhythmically, breaking it, producing it a strong dance at the top of my voice, where the information is very important. But when it comes down to something very not important, but when it comes down to something not very important, but when it comes down to something, I do not care about this very, very just hardcore beating rhythm. I may actually go to low kind of rhythm. I hope you understand what I'm saying at this very moment. And therefore, when you are exercising the reading of the page, I strongly, strongly recommend you to make it useful for you by multiple exercises in rhythm. Okay, but today I wanted to make my presentation a little bit more specific in terms of pronunciation of each individual sound that exists in the English language, and how you exercise English pronunciation with individual sounds. I'll be showing you all kinds of things, and these things are very important for your daily practice. That's what is important. And I'll probably begin with something that you can do almost at any time without the necessity to spend a lot of time sitting in front of the screen. But just you can go around the kitchen, for example, go around the street and doing something that is called shadowing. What is shadowing? Shadowing is an exercise when someone is speaking and simultaneously there is no one in the waiting room, by the way. Somebody's asking me to add people from the waiting room, but they're all here. So shadowing is when you switch on somebody's speech, somebody is speaking, and you simultaneously repeat after the speaker. And you try to repeat everything, the words, the rhythm, the intonation, everything. Therefore, it's very important. By the way, you may switch on Katya and Chen Shui. You can switch on the sound because the sound has been switched off. I will show you how to do this. For example, I'm talking to you right now. I wonder, can you repeat together with me what I'm saying without switching on the microphone? So I'm speaking to you. Try to move your lips simultaneously with me. Try to say the same as I'm saying it right now. And then you will see that it is not that easy to reach the same speed, the same rhythm, and you need to focus very, very hard on what I'm saying. All right, let me show you how professional interpreters are doing this. And this is a very important exercise. And this is someone this is Dmitry Buzadji, who's teaching simultaneous interpreting in the United States of America in the School of International Studies in Monterey. See the way he's doing it, and try to do it together with him. Let us see how it works. Let us start.
Вот можно попробовать таким образом выполнить это упражнение.
Can you hear it? Is it okay? Okay, great.
Например.
3 набережные Москвы-реки будут благоустроены.
3 набережные на Москве-реке будут облагорожены. Рамушевская рядом с Шелепихинским мостом и рядом с Белорусским и Дорогомиловским мостами. Всего облагородят около 70 гектаров. Московские власти уже одобрили проект. Там появятся дорожки для пешеходов и велосипедистов, а также для детей и любителей спорта. Опять же, если вы хотите заниматься синхронным повторением именно в целях улучшения навыков синхронного перевода, полезно будет еще дополнительно поработать над разделением внимания. Тем более, что синхронному переводчику часто приходится во время перевода еще и что-то смотреть.
All right. So this is for the Russian language. So you can actually switch on the radio or television and do it together with the anchor or the facilitator. You speak and pronounce the same thing and see that it is quite difficult. Even if you do it, let's say 10 minutes a day, or even 5 minutes a day, that would be good, because this requires a lot of concentration, right? But if it becomes a habit, for example, then you will school your brain to similar kind of pronunciation in the English language, as it is done, let's say, by the native speaker, whom you chose as the target, as a model to imitate. Okay, I will now switch on the way the person is imitating somebody is shadowing after somebody in English, and this is also a speech coach, and he's doing it on the basis of the English language. Let us see whether you can actually do the same or not. All right, let's listen and see. One moment, I forgot whether I switched on the sound. Switch on the sound. All right. So try to do it with him, and let us see how you can achieve the same speed and dynamism and flexibility. Let's go.
Speaking muscles. All right. Are you ready to do this? Try to shadow me. Match my tempo and pace. Try to speak sharp, clear English. All right. After each deep breath, I'll go like this, and then you say it together with me. Okay? 3 times each. Here we go. I am getting married next month. It's the only thing I can think about right now. I am getting married next month. It's the only thing I can think about right now. I am getting married next month. It's the only thing I can think about right now. There are many things that I need to prepare. There are many things that I need to prepare. There are many things that I need to prepare. My mother is doing most of the arrangements because I have a full-time job. My mother is doing most of the arrangements because I have a full-time job. My mother is doing most of the arrangements because I have a full-time job.
All right. So I showed you how it is done slowly by other people, and this is the exercise that is being practiced by interpreters and those who are doing the public speaking almost all the time. And if you don't have time to consciously concentrate on specific phonetic exercises, this exercise can be done almost automatically without any special preparation. It may go, let's say, as a background during the day. You switch on somebody's speech and you repeat after them. Let us now, since we have a great opportunity now to practice it right now, I will now switch on the voice of somebody, the President of the United States of America, the former President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, and he will be speaking to the British Parliament. So this speech, I think, is a very good example of how you can also speak clearly, distinctly, with full respect to the audience. This is a great speech and a great example for you to follow. Let us practice now for 5 minutes. I will switch on the speech made by Barack Obama in the British Parliament, and you try to do the shadowing. Let us see how you can achieve the same kind of ease in pronunciation. I hope you're ready. If you are, then I'm switching it on.
Gentlemen, history is more than the path left by the past. It influences the present and can shape the future. We meet today in Westminster Hall, a building begun 900 years ago, when the Vikings were visiting the shores of what would become the United States, even if it was Columbus who would subsequently demonstrate the politician's art of arriving late but claiming all the credit. This hall has witnessed grim trials and the sentencing to death of a king, coronation banquets, ceremonial addresses, and the coffins of those receiving the last respects of our people. Few places reach so far into the heart of our nation. Yet, until today, no American president has stood on these steps to address our country's parliament.
I strongly recommend you to practice right now. Really, it's a very good example right now. Don't watch silently. Try to repeat. It really makes sense right now as a way of achieving good level in pronunciation. Just do this now. This is really a very good practice. Do it now.
It is my honor, Mr. President, to welcome you as our friend and as a statesman. Statesmanship is the cement which seals our shared idealism as nations. It makes meaningful the unity of ambition, passion for freedom, and abhorrence of injustice that is the core of our close alliance. It has fallen to you to tackle economic turbulence at home, to protect the health of those without wealth, and to seek that precious balance between security, which is too often threatened, and human rights, which are too often denied. History is not the burden of any one man or woman alone, but some are called to meet a special share of its challenges. It is a duty that you discharge with a dignity, determination, and distinction that are widely admired. Abraham Lincoln once observed that nearly all men can stand adversity, but if you want to test a man's character, give him power. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States of America, Barack Obama.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. My Lord Chancellor, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Prime Minister, my lords and members of the House of Commons.
Pay attention to the way he's organizing pauses. You see, his pauses are very long, right? He's taking his time when he speaks, and he's breaking his speech into something that he can actually chew, that he can actually pronounce without any difficulty, without stumbling, right? That's important. You do not pronounce something that you cannot pronounce, something that definitely gives you a lot of difficulty in coming to the end. Therefore, pay attention to the way he's doing this, and he's doing this masterfully. Therefore, by repeating after him and shadowing after Barack Obama, you actually reach the same kind of comfortable rhythm for pronunciation. Try it.
I have known few greater honors than the opportunity to address the Mother of Parliaments at Westminster Hall. I am told that the last 3 speakers here have been the Pope, Her Majesty the Queen, and Nelson Mandela, which is either a very high bar or the beginning of a very funny joke. I've come here today to reaffirm one of the oldest, one of the strongest alliances the world has ever known. It's long been said that the United States and the United Kingdom share a special relationship. And since we also share an especially active press corps, that relationship is often analyzed and overanalyzed for the slightest hint of stress or strain. Of course, all relationships have their ups and downs. Admittedly, ours got off on the wrong foot with a small scrape about tea and taxes. There may also have been some hurt feelings when the White House was set on fire during the War of 1812. But fortunately, it's been smooth sailing ever since.
We'll continue listening to him occasionally during this lecture as well. But I would like to draw your attention. We'll continue listening to him again, probably during today's lecture, but I would like to draw your attention to his composure, the way he actually stands, he holds himself, and he's very relaxed and comfortable, right? You see absolutely no tension, right, in the way he speaks. His shoulders are squared and balanced. He's actually looking in this direction and in that direction very easily. He makes a pause whenever he wants to make a pause, and you see and hear practically no tension in what he's doing. But every time the person starts speaking publicly, can you imagine speaking to the British Parliament and to the prime of British aristocracy, actually sitting there in this Parliament, and if you notice that he's speaking without looking into his notes, everything that he's saying, including the jokes, come from his memory, come from his mind, right? He's in full command of the audience. That's important. Where does this freedom and relaxation come from? It comes from that specific rhythm about speech that he has in mind. He doesn't feel nervous about occasionally stopping, making a pause longer than necessary, then speeding up when he wants. Therefore, it's very important that you will concentrate on achieving this ease and laxity in pronunciation without any difficulty by picking the best examples. And we shall return to him once again later on today after I show you a slightly different exercise. And this is the exercise that relates to the way you, in general, command your brain. That's important, because very often you think that you command your brain, but in fact you do not. And a simple exercise is to see whether your two hands can do different jobs separately, and whether you can, for example, beat the head and caress your body. Can you do like that, for example? You see, the top one hand, right, is doing this, is tapping your head, right? And the second is caressing, I don't know, so it is caressing a part of your body. Normally it is belly, right? Normally you should be doing it like that, but see whether you can do that and whether you can actually change it. Whether you can do the same, but in a slightly different manner, different fashion. And then while exercising that, you will see that you somehow face some difficulty in doing that. And somehow your hands behave differently. This is a simple thing to do, right? But if you can't do this simple thing, if you can't control this simple thing, right, when you're doing this sort of stuff, you say, how can you control, how is it possible that you would control your speech? You can't do this simple exercise. But how can you control speech, which has hundreds of sounds, hundreds of meanings? You need this control. You need ease in this control. There are plenty of exercises where you can exercise this coordination of different zones of the brain for your activity. I will now play one for you, and you try to do it together with this coach. who is presenting a series of different exercises. Just be ready right now. You can actually stand if you want, and you can try to do this, just to do everything that this particular coach is saying to you by way of improving the coordination skills of your body and making your brain work very effectively. Okay, let us see how it works.
Здравствуйте! Сейчас я покажу вам комплекс упражнений из асимметричной гимнастики для мозга. Для чего они выполняются? Дело в том, что асимметричная гимнастика для мозга запускает оба полушария мозга в работу, синхронизирует два полушария. В 1981 году психолог Роджер Стейри получил Нобелевскую премию за исследования в области межполушарной специализации мозга. И согласно его исследованиям, ученые пришли к выводу, что когда мы в своем обучении задействуем технологии по максимуму, что и делают эти упражнения. Итак, первое упражнение – кулак-ладонь. Ставим одну ручку в кулачок, вторую – ладошку. И теперь меняем. Сверху у нас всегда кулак, и с другой стороны у нас всегда ладошка. Сначала пробуем делать упражнение медленно. Когда оно начинает получаться, ускоряем темп. Второе упражнение из этой серии – ухо-нос. Одну ручку ставим на нос, вторую на ушко, перекрещивая. Хлопок, меняем. Следующее упражнение капитанское. Одна ручка у нас козырьком. Здесь контролируем, чтобы пальчик прятался. Вторая ручка показывает, что у нас все во. Теперь меняем. Сверху всегда козырек, а здесь у нас всегда во. Через несколько занятий это упражнение можно усложнить, добавив хлопок. Здесь у нас козырек, во, и меняем ручки через хлопок. Еще через несколько занятий можно усложнить, добавляя ноги, задавая определенный темп ногам. Например, правая нога будет выстукивать раз-два, левая раз-два-три. И при этом одновременно делая действия руками.
All right. So now this is a very good exercise actually to reach flexibility, ease in speaking, because if you can achieve this flexibility in what you are doing with these simple exercises, then there would be no difficulty in arranging oneself during a real speech. You know, you probably find very few cases where very much depends on the quality of your speech. When you need to speak, let's say to great numbers of people, to a huge public speaking, like for example, even at this very moment, I'm speaking to nearly 300 students simultaneously, right? And I should speak in such a manner that all of you understand what I'm saying. Otherwise, there would be no interest coming here, right? So this means I will have to somehow balance what I'm saying and trying to offer you a balance that will be acceptable for most of you. So some people who know English well, there will be some other people whose English is not very good, and yet we want everyone to be more or less at the same level of perception, and therefore I'm commanding my own speech and the ability to speak to everyone in a very easy, almost relaxed manner. And this requires a lot of exercises, additional exercises, not just the pronunciation of individual sounds. And I will show you today how I can achieve that. Because the pronunciation of each individual sound is okay, right? I can teach you, for example, I don't know, the word proportionate. If I take a more or less difficult word for pronunciation, I will say, think of the word proportionate. It's so difficult, right? Proportionate. proportionate. And then imagine a situation where you can suddenly come to a situation where you will need to pronounce it rather quickly. What are you going to do with this high speed? You will say proportionate, and instead of saying proportionate, if you don't have the necessary skills and instruments for the fast pronunciation of this word, you will simply fail in that specific word. Instead of saying proportionate, you'll be saying proportionate, something of the kind, something that will be completely unintelligible. How do I achieve speed and intelligibility? That's important, right? To find this balance, speed and intelligibility. So that it would be fast and at the same time clear. I will say that for this particular word, maybe a small example, I'm using just one thing. I'm using something that I call glottal stop. I was teaching you once during one of the lectures. I was saying proportionate. I should break this word, for example, in the middle, proportionate. Because for me, this specific device and instrument makes it very easy for me to pronounce it very clearly. Do you know the word plié? Plié is a dancing instrument. It's when you need to somehow sit down for a while in order to jump very well. It's called plié. And one of the most outstanding dancers in Russia, whose name probably is very familiar to you, Moiseev, not Boris Moiseev, but Igor Moiseev, who's a very famous dancer and instructor and teacher, a very wise person. And he was pronouncing a simple phrase that you can take as a very good guide for pronunciation. He was saying, now listen, чем ниже плие, тем качественнее прыжок. Чем ниже плие, тем качественнее прыжок. Let me explain what I mean. In dancing, you need to somehow sit low and then you jump high, right? You sit and then you jump. Likewise, in pronunciation, if you find in a sentence a certain place where you which you can use as a support for jumping. For example, I'm saying proportionate. In the word proportionate, my jumping point is the middle p. I'm saying proportionate. In order to pronounce the end of the phrase clearly, I should make a very strong support. I should rely somewhere in the middle very strongly, so that the end of the sentence of this word, shnut, would be very clear. So proportionate, shnut. In order to make shnut very clear, I should have a support that precedes it very, very clear. This active search of consonants and hard points in pronunciations are very important for dynamism. Это как необходимость различных толчковых предметов на всей трассе. Когда вы бежите, вам нужны толчки для того, чтобы двигаться хорошо. You need strong pushes in order to move very fast and very, very clearly. Without you can probably to speak dynamically. I don't know whether this point is very clear to you, because this is simple in explanation and yet very important. You should have good rhythm on the one hand, and at the same time find places in the middle of your speech where you stop, lean on something, and jump on very easily. Listen once again to the way Barack Obama is doing this. I will be showing it once again to you, and wonder where it is. Right. And I will probably stopping somewhere in the middle to show you how he's doing it. Listen.
The reason for this close friendship does.
The reason he's saying the reason he's taking r as a support point reason for this close friendship. For is a support. I use it to extend it a little bit. Listen to me, I'm saying to extend it a little bit. I'm extending no, to extend it a little bit. Why do I need to do this? Because without that, I cannot finish the sentence. To extend it a little bit. Если я не произнесу «не» таким вот образом, длинным, если я не обопрусь на него, вот так вот, на всю катушку не обопрусь на него, я не смогу произнести конец предложения гладко. So if I do not rely on it like that, strongly, I wouldn't be capable to pronounce it very clearly till the end of the sentence. That's important. That's the basis of dynamism. It's like running, it's like dancing. Listen to him again, because from this point of view, look for this aspect. Обратите внимание, где он делает паузы для того, чтобы подобрать точку, об которую он обопрется сильно, чтобы дальше толкнуться и полететь вперед гладко и качественно. Еще минутку.
It doesn't just have to do with our shared history, our shared heritage, our ties of language and culture, or even the strong partnership between our governments. Our relationship is special because of the values and beliefs.
Because of the values and beliefs. Because of the values and beliefs. Because he's not saying because. Because of our values and beliefs. Beliefs. Ему нужна вот эта вот точечка, там, где он говорит beliefs, чтобы, видите, там такое нагромождение согласных, это как камни, булыжники, наложены вот такой кучей большой, beliefs, для того, чтобы толкнуться об них очень сильно и дальше двигаться гладко и ритмично. He's doing it very often, creating these blocks of consonants, shortening them, almost cancelling all vowels here, there. And then he moves on very, very quickly and dynamically as if he's dancing.
That have united our people through the ages. Centuries ago, when kings, emperors, and warlords reigned over much of the world, it was the English who first spelled out the rights and liberties of man in the Magna Carta. It was here, in this very hall, where the rule of law first developed, courts were established, disputes were settled.
Disputes were settled. Do you see the way he's extending sir? Disputes were settled. Disputes were settled. He needs this sir, because this is a point for him, once again, to rely on, to put his foot firmly on, so that he can jump further on very clearly and rhythmically in his speech. One more piece, just a very small one.
And citizens came to petition their leaders. Over time, the people of this nation waged a long and sometimes bloody struggle to expand and secure their freedom from the crown. And propelled by the ideals of the Enlightenment, they would ultimately forge an English Bill of Rights and invest the power to govern in an elected parliament that's gathered here today. What began on this island would inspire millions throughout the continent of Europe.
Have you noticed that he speaks so impressively that even the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, David Cameron, has tears in his eyes, right? That's the power of words. That's the power of his speech. Just have a look at that once again. He's saying something, and then this piece is so powerful in his presentation that people listen to it and see it with tears in their eyes.
Disputes were settled, and citizens came to petition their leaders. Over time, the people of this nation waged a long and sometimes bloody struggle to expand and secure their freedom from the crown. And propelled by the ideals of the Enlightenment, they would ultimately forge an English Bill of Rights and invest the power to govern in an elected parliament that's gathered here today. What began on this island would inspire millions throughout the continent of Europe and across the world. But perhaps no one drew greater inspiration from these notions of freedom than your rabble-rousing colonists on the other side of the Atlantic.
See, what we see here in this presentation is something that I would call the power of word. He's speaking without reading, right? He's actually speaking to the public. Can you imagine speaking for about 10 or 15 minutes without looking into your notes, having full control of the audience and having full control of what you want to say? That's a difficult thing to do and requires a lot of practice. And I'm saying that if you want to achieve this ease and freedom of communication, you should be practicing and using the instruments that I'm showing you quite actively. That's very important. All right, now let me focus a little bit more on the segmental characteristics of words, because very often you might be capable of hearing different rhythmical characteristics and intonation characteristics, and yet being unable to pronounce individual words and individual sounds. In order to pronounce individual words and sound, you need to know at least generally how to achieve the correct pronunciation of each individual segment in your mouth. That's important. I may now very briefly focus on the articulation basis once again, as I said, and I will show you the way I present it in my presentation. And then, yeah. So let's achieve, first of all, the articulation set, right, in order to achieve this pronunciation. And this set is, first of all, in your lips and in your mouth. So you begin by simply sitting comfortably, having great, nice composure, right? You sit like this, you put your hands on the table like that, being relaxed, not like that, not like that, not like that, right? But being absolutely relaxed with square shoulders, and feeling this comfort, the air coming in and out easily without any difficulty, showing your teeth and the lower teeth primarily, very clearly and open. You should learn also to show your lower teeth. That's important. Why is that important? It's important to show your lower teeth because very often your lower lip creates an obstacle for the air. As a result, you have this muffled sound that is not very clear. Clear, I'm saying clear. You see, you will hear the difference between clear, and clear, right? So this becomes much clearer when you speak with your lower teeth actually shown. That's very important, and it's very important also to achieve a level when your face gestures are correct and keeping with the English pronunciation. That's important. One more thing, in order to achieve this laxity, relaxation, there are a couple of exercises that I would recommend you strongly doing. And some of the exercises are phonetic, other exercises are, let's say, will come from martial arts. All right, first of all, if you say, I want to achieve a great relaxation in general, where my head is, where my shoulders are, right? You want to achieve a great relaxation. All right, what are you going to do in order to achieve this great relaxation? I will teach you now a small exercise that is very convenient and that is very powerful in creating relaxation. There is a bone here, the highest bone at the bottom of your neck. Вот здесь есть выступающий позвонок, седьмой. That bone is in charge of relaxation. That bone is in charge of relaxation. Those who are doing, for example, Aikido know about that. And therefore, if you want to achieve great relaxation before speaking, I recommend you strongly to achieve a great relaxation by massaging this one, but very specially. Look, the way I do it normally when I want to relax. You do 6 times as if you're doing the push-ups. So you raise your hands and then with great tension, you actually try to extend yourself, but doing it by actually putting your hands at the back. you do it several times like that, several times extending it like that. And then finally, when you come to the final point, you raise your hands and then gradually and softly put them on the top of your head and bring them down gradually to this bone and start massaging it. And then you will feel a great, great relaxation about that. So doing it with great tension, push-ups like this, 5 or 6 times, right, with a great pressure once again. And finally, when you come to the last point, with relaxed arms, you put your fingers on the top of your head and move and bring it gradually down, down, down to the 7th bone and massage it. This is a very good exercise for relaxation if you want to achieve good speed and good speech and pronunciation, so that the whole of your body becomes relaxed. Then another exercise that is rather in my mouth than in my shoulders. We all know situations when, for example, something is preventing us from speaking clearly, as if we have obstacles right in our mouth. Мы иногда говорим, такое ощущение, что каша во рту, или что-то мешает, или какие-то зажатости есть во рту. So there are also all kinds of obstacles in the mouth. You want to throw them away, right? Like when you want to feel a sudden relaxation before you start, for example, an exam in the university, you do something like that, right? You want to relax your fingers, and you want to relax your arms, and the whole of your arm is relaxed, and it comes here, right? But then you want to achieve the same kind of relaxation inside your mouth, because it also has all sorts of tensions inside. I'm doing it by pronouncing chains, that chains of not words but non-syllables that help me relax. For example, I'm saying, look, it's on the screen. Titipa, 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 tibita, 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 titipa, tibita, tibita, sequester, sequester, sit high, sit pie, pay, pie high, dust the room, tibita, Sebastian. I wouldn't say that these combinations are anywhere written down or fixed anywhere. You invent them yourselves. You invent them in order to achieve this relaxation. So these exercises are the same as this exercise for my hand. So I'm saying it's the same kind of thing. So I'm actually trying to throw away any tension. It becomes completely relaxed. All tension goes. I want to achieve the same thing in my mouth. So before speaking, I say showing lower teeth and saying, and so on and so forth. Right. So this is all about how you set your speaking apparatus before you actually start speaking to the public. Then come one more sound that is very general for everyone, and this is schwa, as I was teaching you last time. You also see whether you can, after the relaxation exercises, whether you can produce it at all. You see, I'm saying student. See, there is just a range of phrases where instead of going with great difficulty through many sounds, I choose only one sound everywhere. I'm saying the student. I'm not saying their student. I'm saying the student. A cup of coffee. A cup of coffee. She was hungry. Give them some paper, black and white. So I'm exercising this specific kind of relaxation when nothing is tense, but this general kind of relaxation is conducive. It helps me to pronounce it very clearly at the most important points. Not every, but at the most important points. All right. Finally, we come to the system of the system of vowels themselves. I can go very quickly over them, and next time I will focus in greater detail on them. I wonder whether you can see it or not on the screen. I hope you can. So this is a set of 12 monophthongs, vowels, and more diphthongs, and they're pronounced very specially. Okay, let me explain the general principle, how these things should be pronounced very clearly. If you see that some vowels are written with 2 dots, others without. And those that are written with 2 dots, you think should be long, and it is wrong. The 2 dots mean tension. You should achieve great tension in pronouncing this. While those who are written without any dots, they are relaxed. They are lax vowels, and they are very close to schwa, as I was explaining to you previously. See how we make them different in our speech. When you see 2 dots, I'm saying E, which is number 1 here, right? E. It's a great, I wonder whether you can hear this tension or not. E, C, unique, feel, 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 right? Feel. It comes from somewhere deep in your mouth, from the throat, E. And at the same time comes number 2, which is lax, which is just E. It is not E. It is just, it's not a sound, in fact. It's a shadow sound. It's a shadow sound, like you pronounce it by simply turning something here in your throat very lightly. With mystic, little. У вас должно быть ощущение, что во рту у вас расслабленный язык, и вы произносите его примерно вот таким вот образом. Вот. Вот если это зубы, вот это, а это язык, и вот тут вот наверху небо, то ваш язык вот примерно вот такой и расслабленный. Губы растянуты, нижний зуб показаны. Что вы думаете о человеке, который выглядит так? Да, Аня, правильно, да, вижу. Некоторых вижу, да. Да, вот такое. И дальше мы не произносим звуки, а мы как бы позволяем какому-то моторчику, который в глотке, один раз повернуться. Один раз вот так. Там, трк, и все. Вот так. Wet. Mystic. Little. Sit. Pit. Knit. Kit. В отличие от see. А здесь я ощущаю напряжение вот здесь. Вот тут. Вот тут напряжение. See. Feel. Lead. И. Там такое ощущение, что в конце как будто натужно, через силу, какими-то там тяжелыми веревками ты вытаскиваешь из себя жилы. See. Do you see it? Конечно, это do you see it? Да, Юн решил нарисовать какую-то бяку на экране. Зря он это сделал. All right. Then comes number 3, which is probably very unusual, because you think that it is just air, but it's not air. It is very narrow, very close. Listen, it is pronounced as sit. 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 Все представили старенькую бабушку, которая говорит: ох уж эти дети, ох уж эти дети. Sit, net, pit, lit. Sit, net, pit, lit. I say once again, and I'm making great emphasis on that you can achieve it easily if your articulation basis is correct. If there is relaxation here, teeth shown, relaxation here, you sit in an upright position, then the pronunciation of individual vowels becomes very, very easy. Sit, net, det, sit, net. Я и усилий-то никаких не делаю. Вы же видите? Усилий никаких нет. Sit. Посмотрите, я могу сказать sit, wait, little, sit, net. Вообще ничего не двигается. Понимаете, вообще ничего не двигается на лице. Ни один мускул не дрогнет на лице, понимаете? Ни один. Sit, knit, pit, lit, little. Получается, что все правильное произношение находится всего лишь навсего в двух местах. Первое. На какую часть языка вы положите этот звук? Сюда, или сюда, или сюда. Это первое. А во-вторых, ворота закрыты или открыты? Если ворота открыты, то все ясно. Никаких звучков дополнительных нет. Если ворота закрыты, вот, получается какой-то would. Понимаете? Я хочу сказать with, но если ворота закрыты, получается какой-то would. With, knit, sit, little, sit. А здесь еще больше открывает, да? Sit, knit, pit. All right. Then comes number 4. Number 4 is a strange sound. Let's just open very, very wide your mouth and allow your sound to go very easily out. So you say hat, hat, and you say how ugly it is, right? It's very ugly, but you're saying it's very hot. It's very hot in the mouth, and it's very, very short. Hat, 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 hat. И там нужен твердый приступ. Glottal stop is very important there. Hat, pat, pat. Не стесняйтесь челюсть откинуть как можно ниже, до самых колен. Hat. Можно себе бровями помочь. Hat. Pat. Right. Then comes number 5, which is very often very difficult for many people. But with some exercise, it becomes very easy, in fact. It's very tense and very deep. It's somewhere here in the throat. And the tongue is absolutely flat. Вдавливаем язык абсолютно на дно вашего рта. Вдавливаем. Hard. Очень легко 5-й номер и 7-й сделать зевая. Просто зевая. Вот когда вы зеваете, вы этот звук произносите. Hard, 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 Мне кажется, у китайцев должно получиться хорошо. Мне кажется, у китайцев есть такой звук. Такое ощущение, что вы чревовещатель. То есть вам нужно добиться ситуации, когда звук и не вылетает, собственно. Он где-то из глотки выходит и останавливается где-то на серединочке языка, может быть, даже в задней части языка. Hard, 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 father. И он не длинный, как может показаться. It's not a long sound. It's a very short sound, right? It's but tense. Half, half, half. It's tense, so it cannot be very long. It should be short enough. Half, part, father. All right. And the same with number 7 here on the screen. Port, cold. Конечно, что-то должно напрячься вот здесь. Вот. Я бы для контроля сделал бы вот так пальчики. Это мой инструмент. Один пальчик поставил бы вот здесь где-то. Просто поставил бы. А другой пальчик поставил бы где-то в районе гланд. На гланд поставил бы. Просто для контроля. Потому что в этих местах должно напрячься. Когда я провожу занятия в очном формате у нас на факультете, я обычно вот так вот делаю. Подхожу к студентам и ставлю свои щипцы. Вот так вот. Ну вот, к студентам. Подхожу и ставлю эти щипцы. Так сказать. Ну, поскольку я не могу сейчас поставить щипцы вам, так сказать, на ваши речевые органы, я вам показываю, где это должно быть. Сюда поставили, сюда, сюда. И вот сюда. Hard, fall. Иногда достаточно просто прикоснуться fall, чтобы оно произнеслось. Легко так касаетесь. Такое легкое прикосновение. Fall. Half. And it works. Then comes number 6. Number 6, I don't know whether this microphone will allow me to pronounce it very, very clearly, but I will try to explain it. it's a sound that produces a lot of echo. Echo. So it's a sound that is very short, and it makes the impression that it is produced in a very big stone building. Stone building. You take a rubber ball, берете резиновый шарик, rubber ball, and then you throw it with great force against the wall, and it bounces back. It bounces back with great speed. Likewise, this sound is pronounced. It goes like that. Oh, 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 oh. Он такой короткий и такой звонкий, что даже в огромном здании или даже в маленьком помещении он производит эффект эха. Hot, 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 hot. Попробуйте в ваших помещениях кинуть этот звук в стенку. Он должен к вам эхом прилететь. О, 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 о. Не знаю, насколько слышно, микрофон наверняка половину звуков убивает, но все равно. О, 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 hot, hot. И если вы заметите, вот если я замедлю это произнесение, если я замедлю, то мы увидим, что я как бы почти что даже подпрыгиваю, когда произношу это. Я говорю hot, hot. Видно или не видно? Я говорю hot. Такое вот небольшое движение. Почему? Потому что диафрагма быстренько подлетает сюда, она подталкивает все сюда. Я делаю твердый приступ, этот звук вылетает пулей, как резиновый шарик. Hot, hot, what, cost, pot, not, lot, lot. Такое ощущение, что нужно обязательно оттолкнуться, сильно оттолкнуться, и тогда он полетит хорошо со всей мощи. Lot, hot, not. Number 8 is relaxed, which is very easy. Это обычно звук недовольства. It's a sound of displeasure. Good, 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 good. Никаких would. Никаких would. Это would, could, put. I would do this. I would do this. I would do this, right? Sound 9, on the contrary, is very tense, as if you are trying to raise yourself, sitting on a chair, you try to take yourself, and then you try to raise yourself, right? Saying, wood, wood, music, rude, 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 rude. Works like that. Number 10 is almost no sound at all, as I said, very close to schwa, and you pronounce it just by turning something very quickly in your throat, in your larynx. Thus, come, but. Обратите внимание, что мои губы вообще не двигаются, что бы я ни говорил. Я произношу 10-й номер, thus. Я произношу 3-й номер, sit. Я произношу 2-й номер, with. Я говорю, thus, sit, with. И губы не двигаются. Thus, sit, with. Видите? Thus, sit, with. Thus, sit, with. Thus, sit, with. Would, would, would. Вас всех учили в школе, а может быть даже в университете, что звук «о» надо произносить вот так. Не делайте этого. Все испортите. Просто слегка сомкните. Вот здесь есть бугорки небольшие. Тут и тут. Маленькие бугорки. Соедините их. То есть не так, а бугорочки здесь. Как бы вот эти части губ сомкнуть слегка, и получится would, thus, sit, knit, fit. See, all lips are absolutely relaxed, and you pronounce it, controlling it, almost all of it, somewhere deep in your mouth. All right. Then comes number 11. Number 11, that is normally related to mistakes a lot, because it is very close to the Russian you. You think so, mistakenly, but it is not. So it is rather closer to the Russian or u first. Смотрите, надо в голове обязательно выстроить образ этого звука не как ё, а как с оттенком «ы». Как с оттенком «ы». Посмотрите. First. First. И вообще не смягчать согласно вначале. Не фи-фи-фи-фи. Не фи-фи-фи-фи-фи. А фу-фу-фу-фу-фу. Конечно, после «ф» будет «ы», да? Ф. Потом ст. First. First. Тогда как большинство людей произносит его, смягчая первый согласный. Получается first. My first. Не first, 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 first. А first, 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 first. С достоинством, расправив плечи, говорю first. This is my first girl. Girl. Не girl, 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 а г. Там г-ы. Girl. Girl. Получается, что там и оттенок. You begin pronouncing it through this combination of sounds. And finally, count number 12, which is schwa, that I already explained to you how to pronounce it. Then, naturally, I would want to show you how I do it in practice. And I will now show you on the screen the poem that I would recommend you taking and learning. And this is a short English poem about a ship. And you can now take a photo of this poem. And during one of the exercises, please recite it, trying to observe all sounds as I explained. And let me record it to you right now, so that you would actually have some sort of a model to follow later on. I saw a ship that sailed the sea. It left us as the sun went down. White birds flew and followed it to town, to London town. Right sad were we to stand alone and see it pass so far away. And yet we knew some ship would come, some other ship, some other day. To make things easier, I will send you the link to this particular exercise, and I will send the link now to your to this chat, so you can follow this link and exercise pronouncing this particular poem when you're preparing for the class. And during one of the recordings, could you please do the recording of this specific poem? All right, so this was the beginning of a set of lectures for the explanation of what segmental level is and how you should work on the segmental level. So once again, I'm making a stress on that, a special focus on that. You should be working very often with your physiology, working on how relaxed you are, and at the same time, controlling just 3 organs: lips, tongue, and throat. Just 3, right? In order to achieve greater control, do these all sorts of exercises, right? All sorts of exercises that you saw with this girl showing you. It will make sense, and it's very good in general for brain development. And I hope it will do a lot of good in the future. So that's all probably for today. And it was a great pleasure actually seeing you all today.